So I want to tell you something about Sherif. I met Sherif 3 years ago, frankly, in this group, and we became friends, and I got to know him quite a bit. And he's writing a book, and so on and so forth. And I invited him to speak to us about something that is of interest to him, and he chose the subject of immortality. I haven't asked his permission, but in addition to talking about about immortality, he has an interesting, let's say, biography. And I'm wondering whether some of you might be interested in asking him about his biography and how he went from one to the other, which is probably as interesting as anything else. So without further ado, come here. I hope he's not mad at me for kind of adding this to that. Now he's mad at me. Okay.
Hello everyone. I hope my voice is not very well today, so at the end you can hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, thank you. I've been myself as a Baptist pastor for many years before I came to the point to realize that something should be done. I started to reread the Bible again and again. I stuck with many things which is not rational at all. Anyway, by time actually I stepped out from the church, stepped down from being a pastor, and then I moved to another direction, totally different direction. I said to myself, I need to read, I need to see how the Word think out of the box. And I did it. I wrote a book, and this book is about out of the box, as the title is. Many things about religion, about our thinking, about what we need to be done, how helping others to know about the reality of things, about evolution, about history, about myth. Why we believe, why human brainwired, hardwired with mythology. That's come immortality, one of them. Now, what is immortality anyway? All of you know that, at least the literal meaning, immortality, that means no to death. Isn't it? It is. No to death. Immortality, on the other hand, means the inability to die. I'm not able to die. I'm immortal. And immortality means it ceases, excuse me, it ceases to exist. I don't exist anymore. That means I'm mortal. If I keep existing, that means I'm immortal. I'm going to ask George to help me with sliding things.
Next slide.
Yeah, start. Can you see that? What is this?
The brain, the human brain.
Good for you. That's the brain. That's what control our life, our being, our everything in this lost bony skull. This red area called the occipital, this is the parietal. Imagination, beginning with immortality, is one part of our imagination as a human being. Imagination starts from bottom to top. Like reality of the image, the real image starts from the parietal to the occipital. But imaginary image starts from, move up from occipital to the parietal. This is how we imagine things which is not real. This one of those non-real things is immortality. We always imagine things. Without imagination, actually, we couldn't be a storyteller. We couldn't understand what's... Once the brain started to be tripled in size from chimpanzee, we became Homo, we start to imagine, we start to be storyteller, we start to create a religion, we start to create all of the things that we now, most of people believe in it. That we think about imagination, but start from top to bottom here. When it moves the image, it's imaginary thing, it's not real. When all go around, that means it's real, like I'm seeing you, all of you guys, you are real people, you're a real person here. Because the image moved from here to there, from the occipital to the parietal. So far so good? Okay, now can you move next? Imagination, and here is a part of the brain. Next.
You're blocking, so I can't see what's written there.
Can you? Go ahead. Yeah. What? Immortality has to do with what? Immortality has to do with many things. First, has to do with God. You go to a religious person and a theist person and tell him there is no future life. Immediately going to answer you, oh, What about God? It's not real. It's totally linked. Immortality and God go together. Go to the religious person, tell him there is no God, that means there is no hope in future life. They always go together. They never be alone. That's the first thing about immortality to do with God. Second thing has to do with...
I wonder if you can go on the other side so that the words, you can see what's...
It has to do with self-consciousness. This is so important in psychological speaking. Once human beings start to has self-awareness about himself, herself, they start to think, oh, we are different from the animals. We are totally different. We are superior beings. We are Übermensch, like Nietzsche said about whatever that means. We are self-conscious, self-aware that we are different. Oh, it's not for me to die. I can't die. Why I should die? I'm not like the dog. I'm not like the lion. I'm not like the goat. I'm different. I'm not a plant even. So why should die? Self-awareness. This is starts to have been selfish, and selfishness, and all of this has to do with immortality. Regardless if he's religious or not, immortality has to do with with the self-awareness, self-consciousness. Next. Narcissism. Don't laugh. This is true. All of you know about the mythology of Narcissus. Who know about this? The mythology of this, the story of Narcissus. Okay. So what Narcissus used to do? He went to the water surface and he started to look like a mirror at his face. So amazing about his beauty, how his amazing person is. We do that when we look at ourselves as the mirror. We do that in ourselves. We said, oh, I'm a beautiful agent, I'm a beautiful creature, I'm a beautiful being, I have a brain, I'm intellectual, I am, and all of the things. Why I should die? Why should I have to die? Narcissism has to do with the things. It's our self again. I look at myself, oh, I'm beautiful, I'm clever, I'm genius, I'm whatever who I am. No. A person like me shouldn't have to die. This is in the deepest point of ourselves. That's his word. This is why we believe in immortality, whether they are religious or not. That's another issue too, psychologically speaking. And then come to the next steps about the immortality to do with perpetual existence. We don't want to die because I believe I should be in this world and all common words with S at the end. Why I should be here only? I should be there, I should be everywhere. I should exist everywhere. I am. It's me. Not just I am a narcissist, I'm beautiful, I'm smart, but because my being and the self-existence of this being dictate that I should be somewhere else too, not just for today, but forever. So we believe deep down, or we used to believe, those who have free-thinking now understand this is wrong, this is myth, this is imagination coming out of brain that work over hundreds of thousands of years of evolution. So that's one of the negativity of evolution speaking. So we have God, it has to do with self-conscious, narcissism, and perpetual existence. We need to be everywhere, all times. That's why we don't want to die. Because it's just about oneself. It's about you, it's about me. That's about this mortality has to do with these things, whether it is religious or psychologically speaking. Okay? Next. Now we have type of mortality. I'm going to show you two things. The main type of mortality, and then a few minutes after I'm going to show you what are the phases of immortality. It's different a little bit. Now this is my own thinking, and the second part I'm going to show you my thinking coupled with another British philosopher thinking, which I really like him, Stephen Cave. Anyway, I'm going to show you what he teaches thereafter, but not now. Type of mortality. The first type is Platonic. That has nothing to do with Platonic love. Huh? It's a little bit different here. A little bit different. Platonic immortality has to do with dualism. I'm going to show you. I'm going to talk about the soul again in the second part. Plato said, you cannot die, spiritually speaking, because your soul is perpetual. Your soul is divine. I'm going to explain the soul later on with the second part. This is Platonic immortality. Plato believed is there is a soul, there is a body. And guess who believes in this thing too? Christianity. I'm going to show you the similarity between teaching of Paul and Plato, and why the Christian, at least the first 3rd, 4th century, always support Paul, always support Plato. The only one out of the philosophers that the Christian support him. I'm going to show you why just in a few minutes. So that has to do with Platonic. The other one is chemicals. Anyone know about chemical immortality? You raise his hand. We need to interact together here. What chemical immortality has to do? Yeah, go ahead.
Drugs.
We are stuck. The stuff of stars.
Perception.
In a simple single word, it's a cycle. When we die, what happens to our body? We start to be dissolved. Yeah, here you go. We start to be dissolved, and step at a time, we totally dissolve in the soil. We became back to the earth again, back to the ground again, back to the, wherever we came from. This is a chemical reaction happened. This chemical immortality. So we're still there, but in the ground. We're still there. My part is still there. My atom, subatom, my particle is still there with the ground stuff. This is another type of immortality too. Now I have historical immortalities. It has mean what? Any clue what historical immortality mean?
Your history, the stories that people tell you.
Yeah, history.
Legacy.
Yeah, when, for example, we have the Chinese civilization, Egyptian civilization. So far up till today, we commemorate them, we learn from them. They're still alive in our human being. We understand this, how big and huge are those civilized nations. Even so, the fact that we're over 7 or 9 or 8,000 years ago, but those civilizations are still alive because we actually inherited them. That's immortal stuff. And then come another type of mortality, biological. Oh, that's interesting. Any clue? Anyone know about biology here? I know someone of you is specialized in biology. Excellent. Okay, can you tell me,
Will we
Linda?
pass down properties from our own DNA to our kids?
Excellent. So our DNA, and what happened when a sperm and an ova came together? Where the sperm and the ova came from? From two different people. It came from me, came from you, and then come another human being again, a new one. So it just from myself, from my DNA, from my gene, get moved from me to somebody else. We see immortal. That's what we mean biological immortalities. We're always there. We never cease. Maybe myself as a self cease to exist, but part of me actually go for my offspring, next generation, and so on. This has to do with biological immortality. And then influential. Influential immortality has to do with what? Yes.
Ideas.
Thought. Ideas. We are civilized people because we came from Renaissance idea of the European, like 16th, 17th century, from ideas of Descartes, Hume, Locke, all of these big philosophers, maybe all the way back from Socrates, Plato, Aristotle. They influenced us. Those people are still alive within us. Aren't they? They are. That influential idea. Einstein and all of this scientific big name, big shot is still influencing our life. Still, those people are immortal as well. That makes sense to you guys?
I have a question. How do you make the distinction between historical and influential?
For the influential?
Historical versus influential. How do you make what's the difference?
Okay. Historical is because just historical figure and history, generic speaking, and civilization speaking. But influential on person speaking. One person has influential idea on us. So generic and personal level. That's why the difference. Is that okay? Yeah. Okay, so now we spoke about this. Why people believe mortality? We always need to ask. Philosophy, the most beautiful thing about philosophy is always to ask. Philosophy, so rare when it gives me solution. But it always train us how to ask. Why, who, where, how, and all of these questions in philosophy. This is why philosophy trained me very well. I'm not a philosopher, I'm just a reader and just to give you some idea what's happening about this topic on the set. So the idea is, once you are into philosophy, it's going to systemize your brain and mind how to ask, how to think, how to criticize, and all of this thing. But most of the time, most of the cases don't give you answers. Philosophy is not for answering. It's just philosopher, give or take, are troublemaker anyway. That's why I like them. You know? Okay, so the first reason why people believe in immortality is the compensation, especially religious people, compensation in future life. Now, people here with us in the current life, they are, many of them are poor, many of them are sick with incurable disease. Millions of people like this, especially the poor, are, you know, they don't have ability to just pop up on the surface. So what they think, what religion preaches them? Oh, you know what? Don't worry about this life. Another life, you'll be compensated. You will have a better stuff over there. Just don't worry. Just believe in Jesus. So I believe in Jesus, and what happened next? I'm still the way I am here. Nothing, even 1 inch, move on, because my brain has been, you know, hypnotized, brainwired, whatever they name it. For the next life, something is coming up. Of course, nothing will come in because people just want to believe in it. We deceive ourselves in this. There's a compensation in this. I think the reason why people believe is that because there is kind of, okay, George, go ahead. A promise. What the promise after life is? The reunion of family, reunion of people that we love, and even people go a little bit. I know some Catholics who believe they're going to be reunited with their pets. You're going to see that dog over there somewhere else. All of you know that, right? So I'm not sure if I'm going to see my dog anyway, somewhere, anywhere, whatever. There is a reunion. It's a promise. All the believer like you, only the believer like you. See how that's make the draw the line. Only the Christian, only the Muslim, only the Hindus, only whoever they are, only they meet their beloved. So what if my beloved is different? What if my beloved is an atheist? No, don't bring those people there. Gee, that's fine. Okay, no problem with that. So that's I mean, compensation and the promise. Punishment. Ah, you're a rich man. You're evil. Why? Because you're rich. That's it. There's no other reason. And rich will not get into heaven. Don't forget who said this. A rich man will go to heaven is harder than a camel pass through what? Eye of the needle. Who said that? Jesus. So why? What you catch Jesus in this is no catch, because you're rich and a lot of poor around. So those poor, right? Brainwash them, give them a false promise. You go to heaven, and that rich go to hell. Both of them are eternal life, but in different direction. One go to Eglinton, the other one to here, Ontario, you know? Yeah.
I think it ties in with the idea of absolute justice.
Yes.
There's this mafia man who's got every color of bad, right? Every shade of bad.
Yeah.
He never gets arrested, dies peacefully of old age in his mansion, surrounded by his beloved family and a gorgeous mistress.
Absolutely.
And it's like, he's gotten it good, and what about these poor innocent victims? Oh, God's going to get them, though. The justice will be in the afterlife because they didn't get them in this life.
You're right. Yeah, I appreciate that, Linda. Yeah, very good. Now, with this punishment, the always imagination of what? A retribution and vendetta. Retribution and vendetta. That's that imagination of incapable people, unable people to do something or to pop up on the surface of life. They start to see another life, maybe a better life for them, and the worst life for the rich and successful people. So all the way around, you go the reverse way. Retribution and vendetta. This is how it works with them. Another reason after punishment, why people believe in immortality is a certainty. They are very certain that they have a soul, and this soul will go somewhere to be purified. Something a little bit has to do with purgatory of the Catholic, something like this, you know. To be purified. That soul should be somewhere, sometime for eternal life, absorbed in the divine. I'm so certain that's going to happen to me because I know that I'm not just a body, I'm not just a physical stuff. This is why people believe in immortality, because certainty, there are two things. I'm going to actually go spend a little bit of time with the soul stuff in the second half of this session. But those are the main reasons why people believe in immortality. Is that because compensation, a promise, a punishment. And by the way, punishment is no good. I'm going to show you why it's no good in the beginning. Even what psychology and the modern science say about punishment. Can you switch? The 4 phases. I call them 4 phases. Stephen Cave called them the 4 paths of immortality. The first step, the first one is staying alive. I love this song anyway. Who doesn't? You know,
Bee
yeah, you know.
Along with the Bee Gees.
Yeah, if you want to dance, go ahead, do it. We as humans want to stay alive as much as we can. Some say immortality. I don't actually support this, but I'm going to tell you what he said. I don't remember who. It's some other thinker. He said immortality never means you never die, but it be a long extension of your life. For example, the myth said that Noah was 950 years when he passed away. That's one kind of mythology of the Old Testament. I think all of you know that. 950 years. I can't imagine Noah stay all of this long if he ever existed. What on earth was he doing in 950 years without a cell phone, Wi-Fi, and TV? Nothing with this. So boring life, you know. So that's about Noah. So it's
Took him that
staying
long to
alive.
build the ark.
With that?
It took him that long to build the ark.
So the idea of staying alive, we're still doing our best to prolong our life. At least scientists doing their best to give us a couple more decades in our life by modern medicine, mechanical medicine, surgery. Singularity is coming soon.
What's mechanical medicine?
I mean surgery and all of the things, you know, biomedical, and all of this mechanical has to do with biomedical. And singularity is coming soon. Who knows about singularity, by the way? Raise hand. Okay, so I don't need to talk about it. It's not in the context now. So that has to do with staying alive. We stay alive as much as we can, healthy. Because if you're not healthy, so what's the point to stay alive for 900 years and you are, you know, totally ill? That's the first path. But we know, everybody knows on Earth, ever since we start to become Homo, that we will die eventually. Oh, no. That's something else will happen because I'm not going to die forever. Now start to change. I'm going to die, but I'm not going to die forever. This comes, the second path is resurrection. By resurrection, I mean physical resurrection, bodily resurrection. Now, who was the pioneer the last 2 millennia of resurrection? Christianity. Paul the Apostle claimed that Jesus Christ is risen from the dead, and that's why they celebrate Easter. They start to claim, he start to preach, and they start to understand that Christianity is the religion of resurrection. Because without resurrection, without the risen Christ, Christianity will stay there. No one will hear about it. Because what is about the crucified guy there? So what now? He's dead already. But no, it's not the end of the story. The end of the story is Jesus rose again. It symbolizes the imagination and the myth of human being to rise again from the dead. This is us. So resurrection, physical resurrection, that never happened. No one came back from the dead and tell me the story about what's happening there. Have you ever heard about anyone came back? Yeah, Charles?
Yeah, there's 2 or 3 kids that met Jesus and Muhammad and all sorts of people in heaven came back and they made movies about it.
Come on, man, that's near-death experience. That's totally different. So that's physical resurrection. Now we understand that physical resurrection means I'm going to be dead for a long time, rotten body in my tomb. Oh, so I should create imagination, another imagination. My imagination should create something, a bridge between the death, resurrection, and another life. What is the bridge? Can you click? The soul. Now we came up with the soul. The soul never dies because it's divine. The soul is totally absorbed in God's presence. That Plato and Paul, both of them. Because Plato, we call it Platonic dualism. Dualism being two, body and soul. Dualism, who adopted this idea was the apostle. And who adopted the same idea after René Descartes, the philosopher, the famous Descartes, said, we believe in dualism. But now science said, no, there is no such soul, nothing. We are just a chemical bag, moving chemical bag, that's who we are. So, the soul, let's stop here a little bit and talk about it. How Plato described the soul in case of immortality. How he described that, how he saw soul and linked it with immortality. First of all, as I said a second ago, is that the soul has to do with the divine. Second, the soul is not physical. So, consequently, it's not mortal. Because you die, your body dies, your soul doesn't. So the soul keep alive. And then, you stay asleep. Meanwhile, for a while, maybe 1 million years sleep, but your soul is still alive with the divine. The soul will come back to you to resurrect you back. So sleeping, alive, sleeping again, and vice versa. Who used the very word sleep instead of death? Again, Paul the Apostle. So Paul quotes a lot from Plato, Roman, 1 Corinthians, and you name all of this, because I'm a seminarian and got my degree of divinity Bible college way back before being a pastor. And now when I came up with the things I can compare, where Paul got his ideas from Plato. And the proof, Christianity was supporting very well Plato in the first 4 or 5 centuries. When Constantine, in the middle of the 4th century, he issued a decree that Christianity is the official religion of the Roman Empire. The Christian in Alexandria, where the Alexandria Library is, historically speaking, attacked this library, burned most of the philosophers, and kept what? Guess, kept the writing of whom?
Plato.
Plato, here you go. For this reason. Yes.
No, just